It was the tweet of God. Instagram and Facebook were not working. Democracy's not working. Society's not working, and the healthy sense of self. So it's just a message to look at yourself and let's see if we can get back to working. I like that one though. That was funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Dan here with tradingology.com and the trading room coming back to you for October 5th. We've jumped a whole month. So we've been away doing some high-level mentoring training with a group of our members. It's been a great time for the last month. So we're getting this back in action. So I almost forgot what month it was. And as usual, we do have Dave joining us from our Strong Market partners over there. Great to see you, Dave. How you doing?
Good. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I was good. I was wondering, did I do like go back in time or something? Is it August?
I don't even know what month it is anymore. I'm telling you. Although I should figure it out because the quick weather update is we got heavy fog and down in the 40s, and I actually threw a sweatshirt on. So it's getting chilly.
Well, I don't know about you, but this is the first time you have failed to predict the weather for the next 3 days, which is supposed to be sunny and 70s. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe we got our Indian summer. Do you have Indian summer out there?
We do. Oh,
okay.
It still might happen again, but we were in the 70s up till last week, so that's cool.
We're just getting it. So we're getting it tomorrow. Tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday.
Gotcha. Well, there you go. Oh, we're heading up north, way up almost by Canada, because everyone says I sound like I'm Canadian, and gonna go check out some trees turning. They're saying it'll be about 75%, 50% turned. Way up by the North Shore.
Yeah, beautiful.
And it's almost like we got a roller coaster in the markets. We got a roller coaster in the weather. So interesting view of the internals as we open up the day here. Pretty positive, but it's one of those, we got some large separation still on the NASDAQ. So yeah, it's looking good so far. We'll see. Everyone's talking about if they can still talk again, obviously everything that happened with Facebook yesterday, that's the big headline news, right? It was pretty funny. What was the one I sent you? Everyone runs to Twitter, right? Because that was the only communication channel left.
Right. When Facebook goes down, they go to Twitter to complain about Facebook.
Right.
And of course, Twitter added fuel to the fire and probably, massaged their algorithm so all the Facebook stuff would come up right away.
Oh, for sure. It's hashtag whatnot. The funniest one I saw, though, I sent you, I got to bring it up, is it was the tweet of God. Instagram and Facebook were not working. Democracy's not working. Society's not working, and the healthy sense of self. So it's just a message to look at yourself and let's see if we can get back to working. I like that one, though. That was funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
All right. Well, off the internals. And we are at a new month, obviously. So that's one thing I was doing a little review. We can start there. And then I know we got a couple questions that we had from some members we want to cover. But kind of interesting to look at the monthly charts. I know you and I were talking offline about it, or just in our conversations. I got these pulled up on the Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell. One thing that's interesting about TradingView, too, is I was looking at this morning that you might take interest in, is as I activate the Dow channel here, or Dow chart, and I scroll down here. Oh, it's back to neutral now. It was down at sell earlier. I'm curious what's in the trading view. So look at that. The S&P 500, they're kind of the needles on sell. Same thing with the NASDAQ and Russell. They were all kind of showing sell signals. The Dow's now come back to neutral. That's as of a 15-minute change.
Okay.
That's an interesting little indicator there.
That updates every 15 minutes. Wow.
I think it's kind of a inflow. It's always kind of, you see it bouncing here.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a little speedometer.
That's interesting. I wonder what the algorithm for that is. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one. I haven't seen it say strong sell yet, but I'm sure it probably did. I don't know if this is, let me see if I change this to a weekly. Does that change the outlook? No, it looks like the meter hasn't changed there. Yeah, no, so that's kind of a live deal. It looks like no matter what time frame the chart's on.
Interesting.
Even if I go to a 1 minute crazy chart. Yep, that
Looks
doesn't
like
change. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's updated like, from second to second here. It's kind of moving around. Interesting. I wonder why they would put, the market's up today. S&P 500 is up 51 handles, so I'm not quite sure why they got a sell signal in there. But they must have something that they're measuring. I wonder if they have more information about that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that. It's the first time I've saw it pop up on a grand scale, or at least across the board.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that you noted on the monthly charts was the bullish or the bearish engulfing pattern that we closed out the month of September with. We had bearish engulfing on the S&P. We had bearish engulfing on the NASDAQ. We had bearish engulfing on the Dow. Whoops, you got two S&Ps up there. Oh, no, that's the Dow. Yeah, that's the Dow. Yeah, so lots of bearish engulfing. The only one we didn't have was the Russell 2000, but you can see that it looks like we're making a rounded top. So, that kind of rounding pattern there is typically something that we see follow through to the downside, with the markets, and then of course we had the market timer spreadsheet that we talk about a lot. It called the decline yesterday. Market was down fairly significantly, not huge, but it was down 323 points in the Dow. But the market timer spreadsheet was indicating that we were going to have a down day yesterday. But today, it was really kind of unclear because even though we had a down day yesterday, there was no bearish herding. And that's kind of the only indicator that kind of gave me pause to think that the decline would continue. In addition, we had the price anomaly at 110, which indicates the market might be up today. But we do have MT volatility above 100%. It's at 112, ticked higher. So when it's over 100%, that means there's more sellers than buyers. So we've got a mixed market here. I think that's a little bit why we're up today, because we didn't see any bearish herding yesterday. And we should have with the market down 323 points. So that was bullish. But everything else is kind of registering continued bearishness. One of the things I did look at was the average share per volume, average of at every single down day. It's been pretty high. It's up in that 1300 range. All the other ones are below that. So all the big volume over the last couple of weeks have been on the down days. That is also an indication of selling pressure.
I thought it was really interesting how the final column popped in yesterday. There was no new ones, but that usually doesn't happen. That's really rare.
I tell you, that is rare. It is kind of rare. I mean, it's just out of the blue. It just popped up. And so the last column is really an average of the pipeline, an indication of how many sellers there are, and it just kind of popped up there. It's kind of
maybe this time last year, kind of. It's not the same. It was right after a bear trap. There was one out here in the fifth column, but I had to go back a year just to see where like one at the end, like here's another one where it kind of ill-formed. This is a good example. So maybe this will be a little sign. So maybe it's partly seasonality, since it was last September as well. I doubt it, but it's just, like we say, it's super rare.
Yeah, it could be, but I don't give as much weight to the fifth and sixth column. It's the first, second, and third column that I really pay attention to.
Yeah, for sure.
Most recent action, but it is kind of.
All right.
We have some questions here. Let's see. You probably don't want to bring those up because they have other things in there, but I'll touch on Roger's question. Which Roger question were you referring to? Because he also sent me a DM.
Let me take a look real quick. I know it was more some logistical questions that he had yesterday that we got fixed up. He was looking at a different thing, so that we got wrapped up. He didn't have any. Where's my good buddy?
The pre-close update to the spreadsheet. Yeah, he had some. I think he just see one of the reasons why we do updates for people on the spreadsheet is because it's very easy to transpose numbers and get numbers from the wrong columns and put them into the spreadsheet. So that's why we do the update service, which is very inexpensive. You're talking $10 a month, and you're updating it every single day. So,
right.
That's one reason to do that. But the other reason is that it just saves you the time because you have to actually get to the proper website, and then you have to take a look at the right settings, and then you have to make sure you're not doing the NASDAQ on the Dow or the Dow on the NASDAQ spreadsheet. But yeah, that's easy to do when you're updating it yourself, is make those mistakes. So he had a question because I write a newsletter for OnlyCoin, which is a website I do news and analysis on cryptocurrencies. And I had this email that I sent out about the chaos that will probably ensue if we go into some sort of depression, recession in the next year or two. And so he asked if, he also said there was something, he's not sure if it was covered in the high level mentoring, which we just finished. But it's about the OnlyCoin emails and about the chaos that will start now. Just to give you kind of a background information, when I wrote the email for OnlyCoin, basically it said, hey, look, there could be a currency crisis at some point. I don't think it's imminent. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I don't think it's going to happen even 2022. But maybe down the road, we could have a currency crisis. And it's not unprecedented because we had the Weimar Republic, we had Venezuela, we had all these other countries that have gone into currency crisis. Russia has gone through a currency crisis. China's gone through a currency crisis. A lot of countries that have gone through currency crisis. And at the time, and if you probably recall, what's that island off the coast of Italy that shaved 10% off of everybody's bank account when they were having financial problems?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that country, though. It's a little Malta? No, it's not Malta. It's right on the tip of my tongue. People who are watching this video will probably put it in the comments. It was
right.
How can you forget that? Well, anyway, what they did was, it was a small country. They were having financial problems, and rather than kind of raising a special tax, they basically taxed everybody who had more than, I think it was like $200,000 in their account. They took 10%. They just took 10% right out of their bank accounts. And so I wrote that if we do have a currency crisis, if we have some sort of major depression because the central banks are constantly printing money without regard to the implications, long-term implications of it, and we have a currency crisis, there's a potential for, the financial economic system in the entire world just kind of collapse. And where are you going to put your money? If you're going to put your money in the bank account, you could get a 10% haircut if the government decides that they needed money, and that's the easiest place to kind of grab it, right? You can't buy gold, physical gold, and carry it around with you. It'd be really, really heavy. And so I suggested that cryptocurrency is probably the best way to go. It doesn't mean I'm investing in cryptocurrency now. I'm not. Just a way of disclaimer, I'm out of my cryptocurrencies. I'm not in cryptocurrencies currently, but it is portable money. So if I see something like this happening, I'd want the most liquid. I would want the most, liquidity means that there's tons of volume available. I want the one that I can have an off ramp to the largest number of countries that I may want to go to. It's my escape bag, my go-to bag when survival bag when everything hits the fan. And so I don't know what that is, because right now, there's 4,000 cryptocurrencies, and we are still in that race to find out who's going to be the winners. So I think it's a little bit too early to tell. But his question was, what different vehicles or what different cryptocurrencies should he be looking at? One of the things I do look at is having a blockchain domain, because if you have a blockchain domain, you can do business. Let's say things do hit the fan and you can't do business anywhere. Well, with a blockchain domain, you own it. And so you're able to do business at least on the internet. It'll be decentralized, it won't depend on internet. Let's say some government agency doesn't like your website, they can turn it off now, right? Well, blockchain domain, you can't do that. And so that's why I have both personal and a business blockchain domain through Unstoppable Domains. Then the cryptocurrency, and so with Unstoppable Domains, you can actually buy and sell, or you can actually transfer cryptocurrencies just using your blockchain domain name, which is pretty cool. And so you can transfer cryptocurrencies that way, and you can accept them if you're selling stuff. The only thing I'm not sure about is which cryptocurrency is really going to be the one to use in a couple of years.
Yeah, while you're talking about that, obviously we pulled up, and I think we've made this reference before, is as you said, there's thousands of them. I just pulled up coinmarketcap.com, which does a high level overview, and what do we got? The first 100 there, and we got how many pages?
7,000?
7,009.
Holy cow. It's grown since I last looked at that. I thought it was like around 4,500.
Yeah, we thought 4,000 was bad. Now there's 7,000 cryptocurrencies. And
yeah, who knows? Who knows which one is going to be the most liquid? Obviously, the top of the list. The top of the list has actually changed quite a bit. I mean, if you go to the top 10, I don't even know who's in there now, but like Cardano was never in there. And Cardano was down to like 100 or 200. XRP was always number 3. Now it's number 6, so it's dropped.
And literally the coin that was made as a joke is number 8.
What the hell?
The white paper says it's a joke.
Seriously. It's unbelievable. It's number 8. So you can't tell. I mean, look, if you looked at this list now and you come back in 2 years and look at it, it's going to be different again. It's just, wow. That kind of shocks me a little bit there. Litecoin always used to be like number, 5, 6.
It was quite up there before, previously, right?
Yeah.
XLM's down here at 26. There's VET's way down at 27.
Oh yeah, VET was climbing for quite a while. That was up there, but now it's dropped back down. It got up to close to 25 cents, not so low.
HBAR had some of that for a while. That's got interesting stories behind it. That's dropped all the way down to 34. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Pancake swap, seriously?
They have Shibu Inu was up 50% yesterday. It's number 23. Yeah, it's one of those dog coins,
Yeah, so it's one of those nobody knows. No one can tell for certainty what's going to be there. And I would say even, you mentioned it's portable. You don't have to, it's not heavy. It's great. But we also need to make sure, and the Unstoppable Domains is fantastic. The problem I see with that is we're still super early, and a lot of people probably throw whatever at me saying, yeah, whatever, we've heard that before, Dan. But if it needs to be, if people are talking, the global reserve currency could be something that comes out of this, it needs to be easy for the average Jane and Joe to use it. And not everyone knows how to do that. So early adopters are absolutely going to get the best of it, but now you have to predict which one's there. Could you predict Google in the .com crash? I don't even think it was there until after. So it's a matter of those, picking and choosing the right ones, and use only, so don't be surprised if whatever investment goes into these gets lit on fire, especially if you're not in something that can be protected. So that's one thing I would also mention. But where I was going with that was, look at yesterday as an example of what kind of backups need to be in place. I mean, the biggest social media platform was offline for over 6 hours, which is multiple things. So if they make human errors and they're offline for that long, and there's businesses that are driven solely by them being there, whether that's ads or groups or just advertising for even brick and mortar, like you see Targets and Walmarts doing advertising, if that platform's gone and can be broken like that, imagine if that would happen if the monetary system was all digital and there was no hard backup. So that's one thing that needs to get fixed until that's mainstream global reserve currency, in my opinion. That's obviously one part of it, because what happens, it's when the power goes out, or what happens when someone actually uses it in bad scenarios where they're attacking the power grid. That's another way, whether it's water and electric. Now, if money is tied to that currency, that's another huge target.
What was the thing that I sent you the other day? I forgot which coin it was that printed like 90 million extra ones.
That they printed what?
Remember that they did an update, and I forgot which coin it is. Oh, here it is. It's a DeFi bug accidentally gives 90 million users.
Yeah, $90 million where
Compound. It was
they had
compound.
they had a problem. I wonder if that's even on the list. Let me see. That was comp,
Yeah.
right?
I believe it is.
Let's see where they are. There it is.
Compound. There it is. Number 67. Yeah.
Yeah, these guys had a glitch basically in their programming where it gave out $90 million.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah.
And so they're asking for it to back. And
so everybody who got, potentially millions of dollars in compound coin are requested to return it.
And if they don't, they may be getting an IRS statement. Well, people are like, well, fine. If you give me, we'll just take everybody. They get 90 million. I have to claim capital gains. That's still fine because it's still money they didn't have.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you got to pay 50% tax. That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep 45 million out of the 90. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I never understood, people that complain about taxes, which we won't dive into that, but it's like, if you're paying taxes, that means you have profit.
Right.
So it's a good thing at the end of the day, but we just want to pay the fair share. We'll just leave it at that.
Right.
But yeah, that was an interesting one. That was literally, human errors are still going to come into play.
Yeah, I can imagine. And one of the reasons why maybe there's quite a bit of selling over the last few days is because of the fact that all these people have gotten those millions of dollars and they sold them to.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that was an interesting story on comp. I'd never even heard of that one before. There's so many more of them, I'm sure.
I've heard of compound before. I can't remember what it's used for, but I think it is a staking protocol, and that's pretty much all it really does.
Gotcha. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's just something you put money into to earn interest. And if you have, if that kind of bug can happen on a well-established, blockchain technology like Compound, I can just imagine that other glitches could happen. It's a human error, though, right?
Yep.
I mean, somebody put in a dot or a semicolon or something in the code where it doesn't belong, and boom, all of a sudden you get accidents like that. So the technology, I think, you're absolutely right, has a long way to go. We don't really know, where it's going to go at this point.
And then you mentioned it earlier,
one thing before I finish that thought, though, is that Bitcoin, everybody says that Bitcoin, hey, the reason every time it just bugs the hell out of me, every time I hear somebody talking about Bitcoin on CNBC, well, Bitcoin has a limited supply, and that's the reason why it can go to 100,000. Except, how many Bitcoin clones have we had?
Well, just looking at that list, we already saw a whole pile of them, but yeah.
Hundreds of Bitcoin clones.
I mean, there's wrapped Bitcoin that I never saw before. They're just scrolling through there.
Yep.
What is the OMG network? Seriously?
OMG is OMG. It's always up. Oh, today's down, but it's been up a lot. Actually, the last few days.
I'll just do a search on Bitcoin, see how many show up. There's 6. Let's see what they are.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Well, no, sometimes they don't call it Bitcoin, but they are. There's Bitcoin Cash was like one of the original ones.
Bitcoin Cash, wrapped Bitcoin.
Yeah. So they're all Bitcoin. I mean, they're Bitcoin.
Bitcoin BEP2.
Yeah.
Bitcoin SV. What is this? And Bitcoin SVU. Is this like Law and Order now? Bitcoin's the new Law and Order.
Bitcoin Gold.
Right.
Yeah. So hey, pick your Bitcoin. Yeah. But you can fork, what they call forking cryptocurrency.
Yep.
So you can make as many Bitcoins as you want.
Yeah, it made headlines this morning because it cracked 50,000 for a few minutes. It's dropped back below right now, but that's the daily chart on Bitcoin. Yeah. Maybe it's a good time to take some profits if anyone's in it. Just saying.
Yeah, don't be a hater. We don't hate on cryptocurrencies, but I do think that it's still we're still very, very early in the game.
And I'll leave you with what I call the drama for the day. We hear this every time, we're at the debt ceiling. What are we going to do? Are we going to raise it? Well, if we don't, we could face suddenly a recession.
She's fear-mongering now?
Yeah, imagine that. Within 2 weeks, we could see a recession if they don't raise the debt limit. When have they ever not done it? Never.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's always a big drama, like they're like they're not going to.
And it's
Seriously.
only 11:59 p.m. Eastern time.
It's like the most overplayed. It's like Hollywood. There's no new ideas.
Yeah.
But she sees inflation staying higher for the next several months. And maybe we'll save this for Thursday. But the other part that's crazy with what's going on in the news, not so much the news because we don't like to be news driven, but all the Fed leaders that are suddenly retiring. Huh, imagine that. I wonder why.
It has nothing to do with insider trading.
No.
Hey, this is this is kind of interesting because she was fear mongering this morning. I saw her on CNBC. She said this is going to be an economic disaster if we don't raise the debt ceiling. And guess what happened to the market? We're up 400 points, right?
Right.
So hey, you can ignore everything that she says because obviously she has absolutely zero influence on the market. Now Powell came out and said that we'd be down 400 points.
Right.
So we'll use her as a contrary indicator.
Yeah. So we'll just leave that there. It's the drama of the week.
Yeah. No, they're gonna do it at 11:59 the day before it's due, and they'll get it done, like they always do.
Exactly.
I mean, the U.S. government can't really default on its debt because they can print as much money as they want to pay for it.
Yep. Yep, they just keep that rolling. So we're up across the board.
Argentina. Yeah, it's not like Argentina. Argentina, was their bonds, their government bonds were denominated in U.S. dollars, and if they defaulted on a payment, they were in trouble. But the U.S. can just print as much as they want forever, and they, pay their bills.
Well, I appreciate you coming back to join us. We're almost at the top of the hour, so we'll wrap her up shortly here. And then we'll get back to it.
Yeah, interesting market. No doubt. No doubt about it. Glad to be back in the trading room. This is fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it was almost like riding a bike, but I hadn't been on the bike for a little while. It's like, all right, what are we doing again here? All right, let's do this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, the high level mentoring program that we just finished, though, was so much fun. I just enjoyed it. Great group of people, just great.
Yes.
Just wonderful comments, just, really insightful. And they all, almost every single session, we did it twice a week. Some of them went for 2 to 3 hours long, which was amazing. And they were asking questions. They were engaged. They just, they were the sponges soaking everything up and just really, really paying attention. It was absolutely a fantastic experience for us because as a teacher or somebody who's trying to present, the last thing you want is snores.
Right.
But they were like alive and awake and really paying attention. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great time for sure. And they're already reaping some of the benefits of it because they were commenting in the channel saying, hey, someone made a 400 tick trade yesterday already or the day before. I forget which day it was. Probably wasn't the day before because today's only Tuesday. But yeah, it's not. So it's obviously working. So it's awesome to see that immediate return.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see.
All right, Dave. Well, if you don't have any final thoughts there, I think we're kind of covering them up there. We'll wrap her up for today.
Yeah, I think we're good. We'll be back again on Thursday, guys. Keep you updated on the markets. We still have on the spreadsheet side, the market timer spreadsheet, still indicating some selling pressure here. But so we'll see. We've got the monthly close, which is a bearish engulfing pattern on almost all the major indexes. We've got the spreadsheet indicating some bearish patterns. We'll see what happens at the end of today. The markets change sometimes on a dime. They will just move in different directions. So we'll see what happens. It's always interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So like the title of my book one day, it's never a dull moment.
Absolutely.
All right, Dave, have a great day and we'll catch you on Thursday.
You too, Dan. Bye.
See ya.